very congruent in my teaching of traffic generation as I am with being an online entrepreneur. And what I've put here is understanding the strategy is what will make you rich, not becoming an expert in every single tactic. Now, although I would promote myself as an internet marketing expert and this, that and the other, I really believe it's more down to understanding strategy than it is tactics, and that's no different with traffic. I know for a fact I've got students who are better than me at social media, I've got students who've got bigger Twitter followings, I've got students who really spend much more time learning tactic after tactic. But it's really understanding the strategy behind traffic generation and then, again, either outsourcing or implementing certain rules within my business that enabled me to get to the level of traffic generation that I'm in, my highest level of traffic generation when we've been going all out, and which is what we'll be doing again for the back end of this year, has been over 1,000 leads, 1,000 leads a week. 500 leads a day. This year I reckon we'll get to about 1,000 leads a day across our affiliate network, so across our affiliate marketing, just in this industry alone. So traffic generation is something that we appreciate is the lifeblood of our business, but I'm not sat at home in front of my laptop, driving traffic all day long on my own, and this is what I'm going to be talking to you about. So first of all, I just want to say, one of the biggest things is, and people just way underestimate this, is who is my target market, and it seems quite an obvious one. I might use the flip chart again at some point. But like I was saying earlier, one of the things that I did when I first started in this market is I really went for the make money, work from home and internet marketing crowd, but I've narrowed it down to real estate agents. And the reason I did that is just because I felt confident. It wasn't because I was told to do that or advised to do that. It was just because I felt confident going for that market. And what I thought was that, loads of real estate agents are entrepreneurs, real estate agents, particularly Australia and the US, more so than the UK. And I thought, they're going to be struggling because the economy is the way that it is. I don't know a real estate agent that was thriving at that time, 2009 in particular. And that was what I decided my target market was. So another example might be, and this is important for when we start showing you some traffic strategy, tactics, sorry. So another example might be I'm a stay-at-home mum, stay-at-home mum and, thinking at stay-at-home mum entrepreneurs. And what I try and encourage people to do, rather than think make money online, rather than think lose weight, rather than think, such a broad marketplace, really think about subsectors or markets that you can go into and really decide who is your target market, because it's going to help you when you do start to learn and implement various different tactics. Now, I've used this word here that I had to think about, but where do these people congregate together? I don't know about you, but when I was at school, there was always like a few weirdos, and they'd be into something weird, whether it was Star Trek or some sort of gaming. Sorry for any Star Trek fans. And, there'd always be, like, I saw it throughout secondary school, a group of people that liked some weird music or some strange films or something like that. And, they'd congregate together in their community of 3 people. And it's actually no different. The only difference is on the internet is that you have people congregate within every single market and in the masses and in the weirdest and most wonderful different environments and different things you can imagine. So going back to the stay-at-home mum example, I can absolutely categorically tell you that they congregate in different areas, within different forums, within different groups. They write different blogs, they follow in different markets than stay-at-home dads might do, for example, or young entrepreneurs. And, the way that we go in, and you'll see why I've put vein of gold here, the way that we go into our traffic generation is that we look for these different sectors of veins of gold and we target them. So does anyone, well, let me explain what a vein of gold is. So you have these mountains, and what happens is you get these gold diggers, and if they strike a vein of gold, then they're kind of like, no, they've hit the jackpot, and that's when they start mining and start going hell for leather. And this is kind of how I see, traffic generation within various different markets. What you're looking for is veins of gold on the internet where these people are hanging out. If I wanted to sell a workshop, I know that my vein of gold would probably be the SFM community. And what you want to do is you want to really think about where these people are hanging out. And so I'll just give you some examples. It could be Facebook groups. It could be certain blogs with huge followings. It could be certain membership sites, or there's just basically you start searching around the internet, you start searching around Google, and you're just going to find these various different veins. And then what it is this is when the tactics come in. It's like, well, what tactics can I apply to target that market? And I feel too many people go into their marketplace and they're all trying to go for the same group, the obvious, work from home, home business. And I didn't get rich targeting work from home and home business, I'll tell you that now. I'll tell you, one of the areas I got richest from was targeting people researching franchises. And it was like, I totally flunked with my franchise. I even had a video on a second page once somebody opted in, telling them my franchise story, saying it absolutely sucked. I was working harder than what I was in my job. I lost £12,000, blah, blah, blah. These were people researching franchises. And I was putting them off franchises and telling them why they should be doing internet marketing or learn leveraging the internet over marketing. Then there was other markets, like, for example, small businesses and why they should learn the internet, how to advertise effectively on the internet. And I'd go for small business owners. And then I might even identify within a sub-niche of what particular category of small business. So what you want to try and do with traffic is you want to try and sort of find these veins of gold. Warrior Forum, for example, huge vein of gold of internet marketers, particularly people who buy, plugins and softwares and everything else. And you can do these Warrior Forum promotions. And ClickBank, a bloody huge marketplace where you've got affiliates. If I wanted to find loads of affiliates, then what would I do? I'd probably go and hang around the ClickBank forums, or ClickBank, find out what top selling products are, see if I can find people that were top of their promotion, see if I could find out their email addresses and email them and promote them. The point being is that what you're doing is you're trying to identify where these people are hanging out. Now, once you've identified that, that's when you can start to look at doing your solo ads. That's when you can start to do your banner advertising. That's when you can find a website, when you type in Google, stay at home mums, and you can come across 3 blogs in the first 10, and then you can see that there's advertising space on those blogs, and then you can send an email to that website owner, and you can say how much to advertise my website with my banner on your blog. $300 a month, $500 a month. And then what you're going to do is that you're going to be very congruent. That banner is then going to lead to a landing page which is very congruent with your target market. So the reason, for example, on Facebook at the moment, for those of you who've seen, my main advertising strategy on Facebook is teaching people how to advertise on Facebook. Because why? Because there are people hanging around on Facebook, and I target entrepreneurs and internet marketers on Facebook, and I say, hey, do you want to learn how to do this ad? Put ads like this. And then what they do, they opt in, and then they go through to a training where I'm talking about Facebook. So the point being is Facebook is a big vein of gold with many, many different niches that you can target. But that's not how you'd start out. Putting a banner on a website couldn't be easier. Getting a banner designed on Fiverr.com, because ugly banners, to be honest with you, are the ones that get the most clicks anyway, would literally cost you $4 or $5 to get a banner. So if you wanted a banner which said, stay-at-home mums, and this is a certain size that you want doing, it could cost you like $4 or $5 to get it done, and then you can get it featured on those websites. So the point being is that what you've got to do is you've got to really get out there on the internet, especially when you're getting started, and find these veins. Now, a big example of where I did incredibly well, many of my students have done incredibly well, Johnny Mulroy being a great example of that, is forums. Because forums are absolutely awesome veins of gold, because if you go to the stay-at-home mum forum, and you've got loads of people hanging around who are stay-at-home mums, and you've got a product that can help stay-at-home mums become more successful stay-at-home mums, and you can get your banner on that website, you're targeting a market that's very congruent with what you're approaching. Whereas a lot of people go into banner advertising, they type in banner advertising on Google, they join one of these networks, and they're just throwing enough mud at the wall and see what sticks. Get a banner up, go across hundreds of websites, apparently it's going to cost me £500 a month to do it. It's not how you should be doing things. So this is the first thing, and this is, like I say, I'm talking more strategy here, is that you want to get yourself out there, and you want to find these veins of gold, and then you want to then apply your tactics. So going back to solo ads. Solo ad is when you approach an email list owner, for those of you who might not know, and you say, I want to promote my product to your list of subscribers. What would be the cost to do that? Some people's websites offer solo ads. Sometimes you have to email directly. Sometimes you have to find them through directories, which is what I teach you in the back office of SFM, is the e-sign directory. And then what you're going to do is you're going to find those veins of gold in your target market that is going to be most relatable to your attractive character, ideally, and you're going to start marketing to those people. Now, I now, in every one of our businesses, really try and categorise or sub-niche, I suppose, every single thing that we're targeting. So if I was consulting a stay-at-home dad, for example, like your Baz Smith guy, in our community, what I would be doing is I would be really encouraging him to, if that's his target market, is to only focus on really finding out where these stay-at-home dads are hanging out, what they're doing, what they're reading. It's same with offline advertising. If you can find a stay-at-home mum magazine, you're better off putting your advert in there if you've got a stay-at-home mum style product than what you are in a Make Money Online or Business Opportunity magazine, because you're really categorising and targeting that market. Now, what happens is that as you start to uncover these veins of gold, it becomes easier and easier to rinse and repeat that process. So when you first start out, you think, God, finding veins of gold, I have a list of maybe 35 or 40 blogs that we banner advertise on. Did I have 35 or 40 blogs that I advertised on from day one? No, I didn't. I had none. I had zero. But what I did is I built relationships and I found various different blogs, and I'm telling you now, the most I spend personally in my business on a banner advertising is on a high traffic blog is $900 a month, which might sound a lot, but this blog gets tens and tens of thousands of hits, and I get hundreds and hundreds of opt-ins when we're actively marketing on their site. So what you're doing is you're going out there, you're finding these veins, you're creating this list, you're creating these relationships, you're finding ones that work. You might find a blog for stay-at-home mums with your stay-at-home product, spend $100 or $150 for a 2-week trial and get nothing back and never do it again and cross it off. But you might find that you spend $150 and get 200 opt-ins and you get 5 sales or 10 sales or 15 sales. It goes back to what I was saying earlier. With internet marketing, there is a bit of trial and error. You do need to get your head stuck in, and it's going to take time to get the best results. And what I found with traffic generation is, there's the obvious ones, PPC, pick your keywords and do this and do that. They are by far the least profitable and the least consistent in my business. The ones that get me the best results are the evergreen adverts, the banners, where I get an email chasing me saying, if you want to renew this month, it's another, $300. Yeah, this one's doing really well. We'll check it out. And I'll be covering in SFM Elite very soon a lot of training on tracking and how you can really make sure you're getting the results from each and every individual ad, because it is obviously going to be quite an important part. But as a strategy, what I recommend each and every person does is that you really do think about what I've put here, who is my target market, and then go out there and find where these people congregate, where are these people hanging out, how can I get my ad in front of them, what forums can I post on. Here's a free method, so we'll go off paid. So you find a forum, stay-at-home mums, and then what you do is you get into those forums with your stay-at-home mum product and you start building relationships. You start creating posts, you start asking questions, you start responding to questions. You see how active the forum is, and then what happens is you start adding your signature. So it's, okay, this is a responsive forum, I'm going to have my signature. So, my signature, Jane Mills from jane-mills.com, stay-at-home mum, And then every time she's posting, and even her previous posts in many different forums, those links are going to be there. It's going to be backlinked to her site, but she's vein in gold now. She's now in that forum, attracting those like-minded people. And, it's what I feel is that a lot of people, when they first get started, is they just try and go for this mass market. And they go out and spend money on like some wide advertising campaign that they have no idea where the banners are even being featured. And you're far better having lower levels of traffic, which is highly targeted within your market, to start getting consistency. So, that's just a sort of, I suppose, an analogy I like to sort of share to sort of give you some sort of method to get going. Now, I say this in SFM, and I say this all the time, is pick one strategy to start with. Traffic is, unfortunately, one of the most overwhelming parts of the business. I think everybody will agree. It was for me, albeit my mindset was pretty good with traffic in comparison to a lot of people that I've experienced. I wasn't overly fearful of losing out. I was fortunate enough that I had my job at the time, so I could fund advertising. I appreciate it's very different for people that, are really not got money to invest. But there are plenty of free strategies, I will say that, but just be prepared to work that bit harder. But pick one strategy that is most congruent with you. Like, you know, I wanted fast results and I was prepared to spend money. So one of my first strategies was PPC. I got instant traffic. I started seeing opt-ins the day that I started doing it. And I started to eventually get results several weeks into doing it. Up until that point, I was panicking. I was worrying whether it was going to work or not. Then I started to make sales and started to make commissions and started to make income. What I love about paid advertising is you can pretty much autopilot a lot of it. Anyone here find it quite stressful sitting on social media sites and posting and Facebook and all the rest of it? It's quite tiring, isn't it? You know, it's not really the internet dream lifestyle, sitting on the beach, you know, spending hours and hours on classified ads. So it goes back to what I was saying earlier, you can outsource this stuff, but again, it's going to cost you money. And a lot of stuff that I outsource is traffic-based. I outsource a lot of backlinking and things, but when it comes to actually marketing, video creation, conversion stuff, PPC, my banner advertising, I do it all myself, you know, because I think there is no better person that knows my business and what I'm going to go out and do there. And it took me maybe 6 months to find a list of almost 40 different blogs that we do banner advertising with. So it wasn't a short spell of time, and it does cost us money, but we make far more money from our list building than what we do in our banner advertising. Some of the banners is $50 a month, you know, and they're quite good traffic websites. They're maybe not the main feature banner, but they're on there and they get traffic, and it's good traffic. So just going back to pick one strategy, my advice is that you pick a strategy, you learn it, you get results from it before you move on. Results is leads. You know, people say, well, how do you know when you're getting results? Well, you start getting traffic. And then what I would do is, once you've actually identified a strategy that's working for you, is then you either learn how to become more efficient at it, or you're able to outsource it. So, I mean, I didn't just start outsourcing my traffic generation. What I did is I started doing backlinking. I made a list of high-quality ranking websites, started creating my links on there, created a process, documented it on a Word document, even shot a 2-minute screen video for my outsourcers. So my outsourcer had no excuse. Here is the websites that I want you to backlink for me. This is how to do it. It was on one page. It was a video, YouTube video that I uploaded to YouTube showing them what I was doing and a list of the different backlinks. No excuse. They got it done. And this is what I'm saying. You should focus on one strategy. My opinion is, do learn it yourself if you can. If you're completely untechnically gifted and no way in hell you're going to learn a certain strategy, then maybe outsource it. But for the majority of strategies, or tactics I should say, sorry, for the majority of tactics, everybody in this room I know is very, very capable of learning them themselves and then starting to either become more efficient or outsource it, which is exactly what I've done in my business. Trying to think, the only thing that I've outsourced that I've done I think I've written, it's quite funny me saying it, so I reckon I've written 4 articles from start to finish myself in my whole time as an online marketer. 4. I'm not talking about blogging. I've written many of my own blog posts, but articles, I reckon I've genuinely written 4. And by that point, I was ready to outsource it. I got to that 4th one and I'd had enough, you know. So, you know, you don't need to like necessarily become a genius, but I realised very quickly it was a powerful strategy. I didn't enjoy doing it, so I started outsourcing it. But what I would typically do is I would, like, particularly in my early days, is I would learn a strategy, I'd get better at it, then I'd identify how I could become more efficient at it. So, okay, maybe there's a Facebook strategy that's taking me 50 minutes, I'd try and get it down to 20 minutes, and then I'd eventually try and outsource it once I know I'm getting good results from it. So just a few strategies as ideas: blogging, communities, forums and blogs, massively, massively underestimated. Again, if you're outsourcing it or doing it yourself, if you're tight on funds, I would recommend this as a strategy that is within your marketing schedule, where you're going out there, you're posting on blogs. I'll give you a great example. Daniel Wagner recently did a post on Ryan Deiss's Digital Lab thread. And on that thread, he had a bit of tongue-in-cheek and he said, looks like you copied one of my recent landing pages, and had his link to his landing page. And no word of a lie, Daniel will tell you this himself, I'm not even joking, I had to see the stats for myself to believe it. He got 140 opt-ins that day from posting one link on Ryan Deiss's blog. Now, I don't suggest you go out there spamming and going out on these and trying to get your links out there. It's not right, but it was a bit of tongue-in-cheek, and it was a very, very similar landing page. But the reason I share that with you, because one, it was only last week, but the reason I share that with you is there is massive amounts of traffic out there. I suppose the way I look at it, thinking about it, is I don't see myself as generating traffic. The traffic is there. It's just up to me how I grab some of it. The traffic is out there. It's on Facebook, it's on the forums, it's in the blogs, it's out there. The traffic is there. I'm not just magicking traffic. The traffic is there. It's just how do I take my chunk of it? And that comes down to that, you know, finding that veins of gold, getting out there, finding out where the traffic already is, and then deciding how you can take your piece of the pie. And I laugh at myself sometimes because, like, I do keep telling people, you know, common sense. I think I believe people get way wrapped into keywords, research. I think it's important, but there's only so much keyword research you need to do. Use your common sense. You know, what keywords are people typing? You know, I don't really need to find this magic keyword that nobody's found. You know, what's working, Google it, find some sites, find these veins of gold, the forums, find the blogs, find where you can advertise your banners and get out there and start making things happen. Solo ads is really a very easy strategy, because if somebody has a list in your marketplace and they're happy to do solo ads, it's literally an email saying, do you offer solo ads to your list of subscribers? If so, what's the cost? They'll give you a quote. If they've got huge lists, they might quote you per 1,000, so they might say like $50 per 1,000 email people that I email. But I'm going to be showing you something that today, I'm going to be showing you something that doesn't matter whether you're an authority in your industry. It doesn't matter if you're a guru, it doesn't matter if you've got your own product. It is absolutely a guaranteed way for you to start building lists if you're prepared to spend a bit of money. And I'm talking about going home today and by tomorrow or the following day getting out there and starting to make things happen. And it is something that I really don't share on a regular basis. PPC Facebook ads, great strategy. Anyone who hasn't watched the SFM Facebook training, make sure you do watch it. I talk a lot about the demographics of targeting. I talk about a lot of how you can really target your market within from age through to interests, through to likes and everything else. There's actually a live training in SFM Elite which you'll have access to, which is an hour and 50 minutes training. So do watch it. Facebook ads is a very powerful strategy that I do utilise and I do use in my business day in, day out. We're using it right now. Probably anyone seen my recent Facebook ad running? D?
Yeah, I did actually. It's got a picture of you in
an event, yeah, in a red square, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we generate on some of our Facebook campaigns anything between 15 and 40, 45 leads a day, but we are spending several thousand a week on advertising. But it's the list building. For me in my business right now, we can justify it. I don't suggest people go out and start spending $1,000 a week on Facebook. You know, you scale. You know, you start getting those leads, start getting your affiliate commissions coming in. Something like a conversation I definitely will have had with Scott is that, you know, I put a lot of my success in terms of my first 12 months is because I threw a lot of my profits back in. In fact, I'd say my first 2 or 3 months I threw everything back into list building. It's what I'd recommend anybody does. You know, if you make $2,000 in a month when you're first getting started, don't pocket $1,500 and spend $500. Just chuck $2,000 straight back in and build that list out. Because once you've got those buyers, repeat buyers, residual income coming in, it starts to obviously grow tenfold. Email and e-sign list marketing. This is definitely, without a doubt, as I've said in the SFM, my most preferred strategy. I believe it's kind of like the most forgotten strategy. E-sign marketing and email list marketing was probably the rave 5 or 6 years ago before I started doing marketing. And then all this Google PPC and everything else came along, and that was just like the number one thing. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was teaching it. People were making tons and tons of money using it. It's got harder and harder and harder, and I believe that, you know, e-sign and email marketing not only is easier, I believe it's more profitable. And the reason I believe it's more profitable because in my business it is, and that's why I wanted to teach you today this one strategy, because you can go home in any market and you can start using this, okay? So it's pretty exciting stuff.